Hi BookTube, long time no see. Remember at the end of my last video where I had a little blue screen of death and I said, oh no, my camera died? Yeah, that was my whole computer dying again. There was the second time my computer has died in 6 months, probably because I keep buying these really ancient Lenovo ThinkPads, either super refurbed or second or third hand from friends of friends. Anyway, this time I cobbled my pennies together and I bought actually a computer, a MacBook Pro, on which I am now recording video. But anyway, that's why I was mostly absent during April. That happened and I had a week-long trip away. And anyway, now I'm back. I got very little reading done in April in the grand scheme of things. I had been reading like 15, 20 books a month. I knew that wasn't going to happen in April because I was trying to do this write a poem every single day thing. Now that didn't happen either. I wrote 11 poems. That felt pretty good. And then, like I said, I had a week-long trip away when I was doing, businessy things, not for fun. Anyway, crazy month between the no computer, the poetry writing, and the trip. So I read 7, 8 books. I'm consulting my technology. Never reorganize all the apps on your phone right before making a YouTube video, okay? Yes, I read 8 books in April. I'm going to tell you the titles. I'm not going to go into super depth on all of them or any of them, but several of them I did review in my blog, so you can check that out. But the books that I read were Changing My Mind by Zadie Smith. I've talked about that in some prior videos. It's a collection of essays by Zadie Smith. I liked it a lot. Fun Home, a family tragic comic by Alison Bechdel. Amazing! I know everyone on BookTube has read that one, but if you haven't read it yet, you should go out and read it because it is totally worth your time. Incarnadine, poems by Mary Sivist. So good. That one I reviewed in my blog, so I'll link that below. I reread The Tombs of Adawan by Ursula K. Le Guin, which is one of my favorite Le Guin books, so that was fun. I reread Murder on the Orient Express. That was a buddy read with one of my best friends. I read Searching for Sunday, Loving, Leaving, and Finding the Church, a brand new book out by Rachel Held Evans, who's a pretty prominent feminist Christian blogger. And The Quakers in America by Thomas Ham, which you probably don't care about at all if you're not Quaker, but if you are Quaker and you're curious about the deep history of Quakers in America and why we fought so much and had so many schisms, then you probably want to read this book because it's super helpful for understanding all of that, which is exactly why I wanted to read it. Moving right along. So you may or may not have noticed that that list of books that I read corresponded not at all, 0%, zero, to the list of books I said I was going to read in April. And I'm okay with that. I like making lists, but at some point you're just like, can you swear on BookTube? F the list. That's what I was going to say. F the list. So I thought about just bumping that list forward into May and then like bumping May's list into June, etc., etc. But what I decided, I realized that the pile on my nightstand had gotten a little out of hand. This is a lot of books. These are just the ones that I pulled out or somebody lent to me, or I thought looked fun. I was like, oh, I'm gonna read this, or their book haulage from all those bookstores I went to that I probably shouldn't have gone to. So yeah, my new amended May plan is to read these. We're going to go through in no order whatsoever. So if you're interested in one genre in particular, sorry, they're all mixed up in here. A Call to Discipleship by Karl Barth, because everyone needs some dry academic theology in their late May reading. Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight by Alexandra Fuller. This was recommended by one of my best friends. She lent it to me. I'm super psyched. Salman Rushdie, The Satanic Verses, because I haven't read any Salman Rushdie, and this seemed like a good place to start. Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. This was one that was on my April TBR, and I actually started it. I didn't get very far. It's been sitting on my nightstand. This was from an online used bookstore, Better World Books. American Rust by Philip Mayer. This, I know nothing about this book. It was lent to me by a friend. Assumption by Percival Everett. I know nothing about this one either, except that it was published by one of my favorite presses, Grey Wolf Press. And I think it's a murder mystery. I love murder mysteries, and it was lent to me by the same friend that lent me American Rust, so I hope I can trust her taste. I know I can. I know I can trust her taste, so should be good. The Art of Eating by Mfk Fisher. I bought this one a while ago. I love reading about food, and somehow I just have been going through it slowly. It's a super fat book, you can see, and I've not, oh, my bookmark fell out. There we go. There's my bookmark. You can see I'm only a little bit of the way through. This is actually like maybe 5 or 6 of her books bound up together. I've been reading like one book at a sitting or two, but there's so many in here. Inferno by Dante. If you've been watching me at all, if you've watched any of my other videos, you probably know that I adored the Inferno and I've read it multiple times, but this is the Robert Pinsky translation. Yet another book that I picked up at a used bookstore, although I think this was new at a used bookstore and I just couldn't resist it. A Farewell to Arms by Hemingway, used bookstore. I couldn't resist the bright red vintage spine, and I started reading this one on audiobook a ways back when I was in the hospital with my baby, actually, because that's what you do when you're in the hospital with your child, is that you start reading A Farewell to Arms on audiobook. I didn't get very far with the audiobook, mostly because I don't really love audiobooks. Although at the time it was really the only thing I could manage. But I thought I'd like to finish reading it in the paperback. Are You My Mother by Alison Bechdel. I loved Fun Home so much that I almost immediately went out and got the sequel. I mean, I think they're both standalone. The first one is about her relationship with her father, Fun Home. And then this one, Are You My Mother, is obviously about her relationship with her mother. And you can read them in any order, I imagine. However, this one was published later, but I am pretty excited for this as well. Of Woman Born by Adrienne Rich. This one has been halfway finished forever. It's just been sitting on my nightstand and I just haven't finished reading it. Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. I finally bought it. I bought that in the same haul in which I bought Are You My Mother. I have no self-control. Poetry 180, a poetry anthology edited by Billy Collins, who's one of my favorite poets, and 180 More, another poetry anthology edited by Billy Collins. The Fact of a Door Frame by Adrienne Rich. The Bible as Literature, an Introduction by 3 different authors. I think it's a textbook. This was another used bookstore find, and I'm a dork, I guess. I just can't resist the Bible as literature. And lastly, Life on Mars by by Tracy K. Smith. This won the Pulitzer a few years back. It's poetry. That was it. All of those books, I'm not kidding, all of them have been sitting on my nightstand. They have created a towering pile that is threatening to collapse, kill me and my husband in our sleep, possibly take over the world from the sheer force of its own bookish life. I must slay them before they slay me. Can't sleep. Books will eat me. Can't sleep. Books will eat me. Yep, so these were all the books that have been sitting on my nightstand. Yeah. I'll see you later. Happy reading!